Hello, welcome. Today I'm with a friend and fellow astrology student, Verena Borell. And I'm so happy to have Verena here because Verena, as I've said to you many times, I just experienced you as so grounded and genuine and certain kind of like beautiful, pure intention in your presence. And I'm just grateful, so grateful that you're here and you're going to share your wisdom with us. So Verena and I, sorry, what?
I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me. I'm totally, I feel very honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So today we're going to be talking about the topic that the soul has no gender. And Verena will get more into that. But before we do that, I just want to read her official bio. So Verena Borell lives and works as an evolutionary astrologer, writer, creatrix, and translator for cosmic energies. She lives in Munich, Germany, and she offers one-on-one astrology sessions in German and English. To expand and deepen the wisdom school of evolutionary astrology, Verena started to read the Akashic Records for herself and her clients too. Blessed with gifted and wise teachers such as Sabrina Monarch and Ari Moshe Wolf, also my teacher, Verena considers herself as an eternal student, born with a strong Gemini and Sagittarius axis and a fully loaded 12th house. Verena has the deep desire to share the light, her learnings and experiences with other souls. She gives astrology workshops and shares her astrological knowledge, intuitive insights, and cosmic experiences on her Instagram channel and with her newsletter and her blog. Verena also hosts her Mercury Dreams podcast in the German language. Thank you so much, Verena.
Thank you.
Oh, what called to you about this topic of the gender has no, the soul has no gender. The gender has soul. The gender definitely has soul, but the soul has no gender. When you felt called to be on the symposium, how did that particular topic speak to you? And what does it mean to you?
Yeah, it was interesting, Martha. I already mentioned it before you pressed the recording button, and that this title definitely came to me. So there was this sentence, the soul has no gender. And I actually, at the first moment, I did not really know what that means or what that will be about, but then it unfolded for me, and I more and more found out that it is deeply rooted in my evolutionary astrology praxis, and I felt that the current transits are deeply connected to that too. So I think later we will speak about Venus, the Venus and Capricorn cycle, and the asteroid goddesses and Pluto and Capricorn. But yeah, for me, the soul has no gender is definitely comes from this idea that our human body is just a vessel and just a vehicle for the soul. So we incarnate again and again. And incarnation means, it comes from Latin, incarna, which means in flesh. So the soul incarnates in a body on planet Earth, and I know in other realms too, but we are on Earth today, so we want to talk about incarnation on Earth. I think the soul incarnates again and again in a human body, and in different bodies, with different gender identities, with different environments, in different times. And I believe, or I deeply feel that our soul wants to make different experiences that are sometimes very, very extreme and very polar, to gain more experiences, to gain more wisdom, to gain more compassion, to because when the soul incarnates in different bodies and makes different experiences, it can broaden and widen its horizon and expand the consciousness. And I think that it's all about the evolution of the soul, of consciousness, so that when we gain more wisdom, we can act more and more from a place of love and compassion. And therefore we raise the whole frequency of the planet. And so I think that, and what we learn in evolutionary astrology, and I love this school of wisdom so much because of that our desires are the fuel for our evolution. So because we have certain desires, we awaken every day, and we live our lives, but we incarnate again because we have certain desires that our soul wants to experience. And so it's so important that we don't repress our desires, but that we bring conscious awareness into our desires, so that we find out if we act, or if our desires are based on fear and trauma, or our desires are based on love and let us evolve. Mm-hmm. And I think that with all of these topics around desire, there are sexual desires too as well. And the desire, why does our soul wants to incarnate as a man or as a woman? And this is one idea around this concept that the soul has no gender, because I think what is really important with this thought or with this belief is that everybody had experiences as man, as woman, in different bodies. So it is so important that we see the soul in each other and not the gender. And on the other hand, I think it is important too that we allow ourselves to live life fully embodied in this certain, within this gender identity that feels natural for us, when we really trust what is natural for us, and that when we don't try to fit into boxes how we should be. And because I think that a bigger goal is that we not only find back to the unity of polarities or of duality, but that we really consider gender as a spectrum or a mosaic instead of a duality, so that we really have a genderlessness, which is the originality, the original nature of the soul, and that we explore more facets of gender or fluidity of gender, which creates like little pieces the whole.
I love that, the idea of gender as a mosaic. I have never heard it described like that. That's really beautiful. That feels that feels better to me than a spectrum. A spectrum is okay, but a mosaic feels more complete. And
I think that when we really detach from our conditionings around certain gender roles, and that is such an Aquarius archetype way of thinking. So when we detach from these conditionings, how we should be, and because we live in a patriarchal world, the the current rules are very much about the repression of femininity. And when we decondition from all these structures and constructs and boxes, how we have to live, love, and behave and work, and we really come back to what is our soul's essence, what is our soul's isness, then we really can explore what feels natural. And that is maybe not the way we have been told to be, that we have to be a man or a woman. And I mean, we see at the moment, since some years, and I'm so happy for that, that there are different concepts around gender, and that we do not longer have to be this or that, and everything is bad. Everything other is bad.
Yeah, and the conversation I had with Joe G, which is also on the same day with you, he talked about Mercury as the binary busting planet. I think that's the way he put it. Anyway, he talked about non-binary realities of all kinds, not only regarding gender. And yeah, anyways, that was such a powerful, beautiful talk with him. So I definitely just want to say people definitely should watch that one also. It's amazing and goes along with what you're saying here for sure. Yeah, really beautiful.
Yeah, because I think what came up when I today thought about the talk was too that gender is just another experience for the soul. You know, gender is just another experience, and it's all about making experiences so that we become more whole and we raise our become more and more into a unity consciousness without repressing the individual. And I think that is so important with Capricorn and Aquarius. So this relationship between both of them, that it's important that we respect and accept that everybody is different. And here's this picture of the mosaic, so wonderful. I think that there are many different shades and many different souls that incarnate in different bodies, but all together there's a whole. And I think that we are in imbalance on planet Earth, not only since 10 years, but since hundreds of years, because we are so focused on the differences and the separation and what is other. And there's so many things around who has the power, who has not the power, and that everybody came so out of balance. And I thought about that because one of my first notes, I made some notes for this talk, and my first sentence is the world is out of balance because of patriarchy and the repression of the feminine. And when I read that today again, I thought, why is the world out of balance? Why?
Yeah.
Who constructed that? I mean, nothing is coincidental. And I thought that, what I felt is that I'm sure that in some way it has to be that way, how it is. Because I transferred the history of Earth onto my own life. And I thought, okay, yeah, when you were very out of balance, then you came back to so much more wisdom. And I think that maybe when we really zoom out and look at the evolution of Mother Planet Earth, as one little planet in a, I don't have to tell you, in a huge cosmos. But when we really zoom out, maybe it's about the spiral of evolution, so that there are times when everything is out of balance, so that everything can come to fall into a new place and evolve. And maybe this imbalance that we all experience, it maybe must be, so that we find out what is not working, and find new ways to live and to be together on this planet as souls in human bodies. Yeah.
And I don't know if I have an answer with that at all, but what it makes me think of is I was for most of my past 20 years, I was a clinical social worker and a psychotherapist, but I took a 5-year break in there, and I was a massage therapist, and I did Reiki and craniosacral therapy and all that, right? So I'm thinking of, with the craniosacral therapy, have you ever done craniosacral therapy? I don't know if I'm going to be going over people's heads. This is like sort of technical, but with the craniosacral rhythm, you know, our cranium has a natural rhythm, just like our lungs and our heart have rhythms. And the cranium naturally goes out and in, you know, and out and in like that, right? And so like when you put your hands on the back of someone's head and you're feeling that rhythm, and it's through the whole body, it's not just the brain, the skull, but for example, with the skull, if you notice the person's rhythm is out of balance, sometimes, like if you really feel into what the body is needing, like you would think you need to sort of force it to come back into its rhythm, but that's not what works. What works is usually to notice what it's doing and follow it, right? And like, let's say, and you can feel usually, oh, it wants to go out. And then you help it go, or it wants to go in, one extreme or the other. And you help it, you just follow it, and then you hold it out and you help it stay like at that extreme of the polarity, you know, and you can feel like as you're very gently holding it out, like after a while, you can, like maybe a minute at the most, I mean, not very long, you can feel it go, oh, like it sighs kind of, and then you let it go, and then it comes back into rhythm, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like the body, our bodies, which I think are very parallel to the planet, and probably, you know, very parallel probably in some way to everything, right? Because that's what we are made out of. Our healing process actually often involves that, like holding at the extreme so we can come back to natural rhythm. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that
I totally feel that. And I totally feel that within my own life, when I look at the life of humanity and of Mother Planet Earth. And I think that there is something about this, what you are saying, this natural rhythms. And I think that there's something about that it's sometimes helpful to detach in a healthy way with our souls from our human experiences, because with these extremes, there comes extremes like trauma too. Yeah. And I think when we have experiences with past life regressions, or when we are connected to such things, then we maybe know that we all had lives in different bodies, and therefore I think that every soul and everybody and every soul that is currently on this planet, I think, almost everybody experienced wounding as man and as woman. And so I think that we are all have to heal and to be consciously aware of these woundings so that we can redefine femininity, masculinity, and everything that wants to unfold around that. And because of that, I think that it is, and I love that you are doing this summit with this really both and more, both and more focus, and the focus to becoming whole again, because I cannot so much, I do not feel so connected to these strong focuses on healing of the feminine. Because I always think that, the masculine has to be healed too. So because I think that aggression and power over is always based on fear and deep feelings of powerlessness. And I think that when I look back at some of my past lives, I experienced trauma and abuse when I was a woman, and I experienced to really experience shame and guilt because I acted in a violent way too. So I think there are so many woundings around all these concepts that patriarchy and Christianity and all religious maybe morals has infused us and our souls and our minds. And I think that is so important that now we live in a world where not all around the world, but in certain areas of the world, healing is possible. And we have food and shelter so that we can heal. And I know for myself, and I just can speak for myself, that my soul choose in this incarnation, this environment, and this very good area to incarnate, a country like Germany, where I don't have to be afraid, where I don't have to fight to survive, so to say. Because I know that in this life, my soul wants to heal many, many woundings from past lives, and wants to bring consciousness and awareness, and wants to help others to return to light and bring light in their darkness, so that we all can together, every individual that is building the whole, can rise the consciousness and return to more and more love. And I think that with that comes everything around our woundings around gender and sexuality as well, because we have a body on this earth, and that is different to maybe incarnations in other realms where we maybe don't have a physical body. But here we have to work with this condition. So my guides always tell me, okay, Verena, you signed up for this. Accept the condition of Mother Planet Earth. You have matter, earth, terra. You have a body, you have flesh, you have all these physical things. You have to work with them. So, and that is, I think I feel that so much in the Capricorn archetype. But you have to work with that constructively. And what our teacher Ari always says about Capricorn, that it is all about the structures that should support evolution. and that should support growth. And I think there is the problem at the moment. And I feel that so strongly with the Venus and Capricorn cycle, that, and with Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn too, which answers in a way, or which comes together with Venus. They started together the cycle, and they will build soon square and so on. So they work together, and I think there is so much about deconditioning and reconditioning. So destructure and restructure, find new structures that are flexible and grow with us, and find new concepts around our gender identity and our identity. With Venus, there lies the focus on our body, on our desires, on our physical needs, and what our body wants, what feels good. And with Venus in Capricorn, this cycle that started in January 2022 and will last until summer 2023. So I think it's all about this, what corsets, what things have I put around me? What do I think I have to be, or how do I have to behave in my relationships? Are my desires allowed? Maybe I live a life, or I live in relationships where I definitely don't follow my natural desires and needs, but where I try to fulfill expectations from others, where I try to fit into certain boxes that society have prepared for me. And I think it's all around detach from that and look what feels really natural for me, and allow myself to find new structures and find new ways of living, and to interact with this physical reality that is in alignment with my heart's wisdom, Venus, with my body wisdom.
And then I'm just thinking the timing of January 2022 to summer 2023 would coincide also with the North Node in Taurus, right?
Yeah.
Which is ruled by Venus. So, and Taurus is another earth sign, which is, well, anyway, it all goes together.
Yeah.
That's really...
and because of that, I think that Venus is so important for us at the moment, especially. Yeah. I mean, she's the goddess. She's always important for us. But I think at the moment, and you are totally right, she's the ruler of our North Node. Mm-hmm. So this cycle, I feel that this cycle is from huge importance. And she started the cycle in January in conjunction to Pluto. And when she has her exterior conjunction in October, so the halfway point of the whole cycle, she will be in Libra, squaring Pluto. So there is something around this topic of purging, healing, and Pluto is in the last degrees of Capricorn. So purging, healing around all structures that limit our body, that limit our heart, that are not in alignment with love, and living with beauty and grace and harmony.
Do you happen to know what degree? It doesn't really matter, but do you happen to know what degree they'll be at that time? I'm guessing like 20.
You know the exterior conjunction in Libra? Or what do you mean?
It doesn't really matter. I'm just curious, because I'm thinking about how Venus conjuncted Pluto and then went retrograde, in December of 2021. And it was that like 24 degree of Capricorn kept getting hit over and over and over again. And so now I'm thinking probably it would be more like 27-ish degree Libra and Capricorn or something.
I can look it up. Give me 1 second.
No,
I
no.
have it on my planner.
Okay.
I just have it here on my wall. So the exact square between Venus and Pluto will be on October 20th here in Germany, maybe one day. And it's on 26 degrees and 9 minutes Libra and Capricorn. So
Wow.
yeah.
So that's still, very close to that like hot degree point that keeps getting squared and conjuncted and squared again. And
yeah, totally.
Then, very, very, and my north node happens to be 24 degrees Libra. So that's why I'm like particularly paying attention to the degree, but and then that degree also is squaring Eris this whole time, because Eris is sitting there at 24-ish degrees Aries.
Yeah.
And so she keeps playing into this whole thing too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I think there is so much about this. And with Libra, with Libra in a Venus and Capricorn cycle, squaring Pluto in Capricorn, in a square to Eris in Aries. I think there's so much about, again, Libra, the extremes, polarities, duality, and maybe this deep fear that we all have to be rejected when we live and love according to our true nature, when we detach from certain expectations that others maybe have. This in Libra, the shadow, the people pleasing, because I'm afraid of being rejected. And I think that is something that is not only about our gender identities, but around everything, how we live, how we work, how we behave in relationship to others. And I think there is something about a deep, I mean, she's in the underworld at this moment. It's the death of Venus. It's in the Inanna myth. It is the moment when Inanna dies and afterwards is rebirthed and comes to a new life. So we are in a deep death process. And I think that it is so important that we let that be, and that we don't try to push it away, but that we really consciously engage with fears or trauma. And I have to think about Uranus and Taurus too. So this trauma that is, and Uranus this year on the North Node, on the Venus-ruled North Node, traveling with the North Node, and Uranus, fixed Earth, Uranus in Taurus, fixed Earth, and Uranus corresponds with our long-term memory, and for that reason, memories from past life and past life trauma too. And we know when we maybe had experiences with trauma, that trauma is stuck in the body, that we can have trauma that is stuck in the body from past lives. I have this experience, and I think it's so much about becoming aware of that, really working with that, healing that, so that we no longer act from a place of wounded femininity or wounded masculinity, and therefore maybe have fears to express our femininity or our masculinity, because we experienced maybe trauma with, on the one hand or the other hand, or on both sides or wherever, so that we really can feel, okay, because I just can feel what my soul's desire is to experience when I'm not afraid of anything, because when I'm, for example, in a female body, but I'm totally afraid of expressing my femininity, that is maybe because I have trauma.
Yeah.
As in a female body. So I think that Uranus in Taurus too helps us to brings that into awareness. And therefore, I think it is so important that we not only evolve and work with our higher mind and our soul and our higher chakras, but also with body and earth. And that is so difficult for me personally, I have to admit, because I always have the feeling my higher chakras are clear.
Yeah.
And no problems.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but one thing that I experience at the moment, when we are recording this interview, the sun is in Taurus, so it is May, and because I know, or I'm told that again, my guides are telling me, you incarnated this time in a human body. You don't have just an energy body, you have a physical body. So and that can be fun. They tell me that can be fun. So please enjoy.
Yeah.
And I had this experience when the sun ingressed into Taurus, actually. And I have to thank my teacher, Verena Borell, for that, because I'm in one of her programs and we are working with the fixed signs and we are working with the lower chakras. So she again brought me to working with my root chakra, with my sacral chakra. And I experienced in a meditation on the day when the sun ingressed into Taurus that for the first time, I had really this experience that I'm connected to Earth, because it felt never good to feel this rooting down. It felt too heavy for me. I could not let my imagination root me into the earth. That felt like being stuck in the mud. And for the first time, it felt good, and I was connected with Earth wisdom and with the healing energy. And I felt, or there was something that told me, you have to connect, or you bring yourself, you don't have the whole experience when you don't connect with the wisdom of this old mother planet Earth.
Yeah.
Where so much wisdom and experience is inside, and you can bring this into your body, and you can get the experience, the frequencies from the cosmos, and you can bring that together in your heart, and then the magic is happening, so to say.
Yep. That's exactly what I get shown too.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say there is one image that I so love, is that the deeper we ground and the deeper we root, the higher we can grow. And the higher we grow, the deeper we can look.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. I was going to say two things. One is, the image I keep getting shown over and over again is the reminder that we are literally, on this planet, and we're made out of this planet. And at the same time, she's this teeny tiny little dot, like you said, right? And we're in the middle of literal infinity, vast space going absolutely everywhere. And she's this tiny little thing, and we're even tinier. And there is no separation between us and everything. And there's no separation between her and everything. So as she's sitting there in the vast everythingness, all of the energies, all of the vibrations. I mean, even on just when you think of just physics, like actual Newtonian physics, you know, real, like you would learn in 9th grade, there are energy waves going through from anything to everything, right? Like every single entity, every single rock that's flying through space, every single planet, every single star, everything is emitting waves that are passing through the planet Earth and therefore us. And she's in the soup, like everything is in a soup of everything else. And so when we root into her, we're actually rooting into everything. So it's like not an either or, it's a all, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's like I just keep getting shown, you know, you keep thinking that like when you go down, you hit Earth and then that's it. Like you've like that's the ending point. It's totally not true at all. We're yeah, we're in the middle of everything. And we have this illusion of, you know, gravity pulling us and stopping, but we're not stopping. We're flying through outer space, you know, in these like our galaxy is going so fast through all this other stuff, and our Earth obviously is spinning and revolving, and you know, we're moving so many different ways all the time through all of these things that we don't think about most of the time, and it's all affecting us all the time, and we're part of it.
Yeah I feel that so strongly that I mean, with astrology too, I see in the cosmos what is the evolutionary curriculum and the energy that is in the field, in me, in you, everywhere. And I really love that you bring this image of the Earth is not the end. So it's a portal, it's everything, everywhere, all the time, inside of us, inside of the world. And I think that it is, and to bring it to, because I think we zoomed out, and I think to bring it back to the topic with femininity and masculinity, and there too, I think it's so healing when we really think in those dimensions that we are a soul in a body. I think that's so helpful, because then we can say, maybe it's just an experience, maybe it's just a play, maybe okay, my gender that I experience now is one experience, and I don't have to fight against others that have different genders or races or origins or something like that, because on a soul level, and I mean that always sounds so cheesy, but on a soul level, we are connected with everything. And our soul is just here to evolve and to make experiences. And death is not the end. And maybe it is important for me in this, and I can trust. I can trust my soul that maybe it is now important for me that I, in this life, incarnated within a female body. So maybe that is important for me that I make this experience now. And maybe for another soul, it is very important to incarnate in another body or with another gender. And maybe for another soul, it is very important to change within one life gender and to live different, to have different experiences within different gender identities. And I think when we do the Venus in Capricorn and the Pluto in Capricorn work, we actually, there's a whole new world of possibilities. How we want as souls in bodies live, love, on planet Earth opens. So because we are so stuck, and I mean, I'm actually very, very excited how the Pluto and Capricorn generation will act upon all of this. But I mean, I'm Pluto in Scorpio. I think you are Pluto in Libra, I guess. Yeah. So, and I think the Pluto in Sagittarius generation is much more open already to being queer, and I have the feeling that the Pluto and Scorpio generation really has to dig deep into all these trauma and fear. I cannot speak so much for the Pluto and Libra generation, but I would be interested in that. But I thought that the Pluto and Sagittarius generation, I feel that, I mean, I looked it up, they had Uranus in Aquarius and Pisces.
I mean, sorry, Uranus and Pisces. Yeah, my son is my 15-year. Well, my son is 15. My 15-year-old. Yeah, he's Pluto in Sagittarius. He has Uranus in Pisces and Neptune in Aquarius. So they're like flipped. Yeah. And he identifies as, he says, use any pronoun, I don't care. So gender fluid, something. And pansexual, like, and all of his friends are, it's just normal. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Thank you that you that you see that too. So because I think that, and it's so interesting to look at Pluto and Sagittarius with, they had Uranus in Aquarius or in Pisces, and I think that there is so much more liberation from maybe religious beliefs, Sagittarius, coming back to what's natural, Sagittarius, more of a gender fluidity, Uranus and Pisces, this detachment from the human body, Uranus and Aquarius. And I think that's so interesting. So I'm really excited how this will work out with future generations. And
my daughter is 5 years younger, and so she has Pluto in Capricorn. So now you're getting my interest piqued. I'm like, yeah, because she's only 10, so her age group hasn't quite hit this stuff. Like, she's hearing it from her brother and she's open to it, she's fine with the whole thing, she's curious sort of, but she's not introspecting about it yet, whereas the teenagers absolutely definitely are. So I'll be really curious to watch her age group versus his age group move through the whole. Wow.
And I think that maybe when we think about Pluto in this Earth sign Capricorn, I mean, we always equal, or not we too, but many equal Capricorn with patriarchy, and that is not the case. So Capricorn is an yin and earth sign. So Capricorn reflects the structures of society, and because we live in a patriarchal society, Capricorn at the moment, or since some hundreds of years, reflects patriarchy, but it is not patriarchy. So what I would wondering, or what I could imagine, is that with Pluto there comes a lot of deconditioning. And I mean, Jeffrey Wolf Green, I think he writes about Pluto in the 10th house and in Capricorn too, about this questions around authority and self-authority, outer laws, inner laws, man-made law versus conditioned guilt versus natural guilt, and all these topics. And with Pluto and Capricorn in an earth sign, maybe there comes the transference from what the Pluto and Sagittarius have, being so free and so fluid, with the Uranus and Pisces. Maybe Pluto and Capricorn will bring it to the body, and maybe really bring it more into a felt experience.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only thinking of my daughter, and she has so many other intense, feisty things in her chart that it's hard for me to distinguish what's what, but she is, I mean, my son is just very easygoing, this is just the way he is. He is, whatever gender and attracted to whoever. It's like, it's very natural and relaxed for him. But again, he has like Cancer rising. He's like, very sweet, has North Node Pisces, humongous Pisces stellium. Like, anyway, so he has like a lot of other things, but just in general, he's more like that. And then my daughter has Aries rising, like moon in Capricorn conjunct Pluto, like on her midheaven. It's like, it's complicated. So I don't know what's what, but she is much more, that is not right. Do not touch my body that way. Move away from me. The boys are bad,
Yeah,
they're
but
not
maybe
following the rules. Yeah.
maybe they will bring the structures,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
the new structures that support a new gender identity.
Oh yeah, there we go.
New ways of living gender.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because the Pluto and Capricorn generation, they have Uranus in Pisces, Aries, and Taurus.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Uranus in Pisces, it's the wholeness, Aries healing the masculinity, and Taurus healing the femininity. And so maybe they bring, hopefully better, or they maybe restructure how we think about body authority, self-authority, soul authority, body sovereignty, all these topics that are highlighted at the moment with the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio, squared by Saturn in Aquarius. Who has the power over the body?
Yeah.
Who has the power over what I'm allowed to do with my body or what I'm not allowed to do with my body? So these topics are on flames at the moment, and will be, when I look at the astrology, which reflects the evolutionary curriculum with Uranus on the North Node, Saturn squaring the nodes all the year. So it's where do we repress our body? Where do we where do structures not support to live in harmony, to not only survive but thrive, to be in a good relationship with our body?
Yeah, definitely. Well, just I'm getting one image about my daughter really quick, and then I want to say something else not related to that. Just again with my daughter, and again, I don't know what's generational, what's her, because she has a ton of this Aries energy, and all of the goddess asteroids are in Aries sitting on her ascendant, So like, she's like a fire goddess with Capricorn, moon conjunct Capricorn. I mean, moon conjunct Pluto on her midheaven. Like, I don't know. She's like goddess warrior mother or something. I don't know. Anyway, she's a very powerful tiny little being. But even when she was an infant, she would be sleeping in the bed next to me or something, and I would reach over to kiss her or, hold her or something. And in her sleep, she would go, like stop, like with her hand, just boom. Like if she didn't want it, she didn't want it. And that was it. And just so clear with her body, with her boundaries, which I have found fascinating. I mean, really, like from way before she could talk, way before she could talk. It was just instinctive. Like even the day she was born, I tried to have her nurse, and she just kind of looked at me like, no, like I don't want to right now. And then once like she kind of moved past the birth process, like a few hours later, she was ready to nurse, and she did at the end, but just her personality is so clear with what she wants, what's right for her body, and what's not, period. I
love that, Martha, because I think that reminds me so much on the grand goddess or a strong mother archetype. And we have the planetary node of Pluto in Cancer. So I think there is this, I'm strong within my vulnerability, and I can preserve and protect in a loving way. And I think it's so interesting that your daughter is, since she's a little baby, so strong, and that she has this, and we can talk about some goddesses in a moment. But I think that there is something when we look at from an evolutionary astrological point of view, maybe there were lifetimes where she could not, where her boundaries were crossed. So maybe this little soul came into this body in this Capricorn Pluto vibe to say, no, I am sovereign, I am the authority, and
I'll just throw in and Mars happens to square her nodes. So fascinating. Mars in Virgo squaring her nodes. And
maybe in past lives where she could not embrace the mass quality, where she was maybe overpowered by others. So in this lifetime, she really wants to embrace this skip step Mars and says the no, stop. And
again, who knows what's generational and what's just her, but I'll be fascinated to watch it.
Totally.
But I wanted to just, before we move on to the asteroid, to the goddesses, which I really want to hear about, I just wanted to say one thing, going back to what you were talking about with letting go of our fears. Trying to remember exactly what you were saying, but the image that was coming up for me, I just feel like I'm supposed to share it, is today in my praying, what I was getting shown was, as we're recording this video, we're in the middle of 2 eclipses, and the South Node is in Scorpio, of course, and North Node is in Taurus, and then that North Node, like you're saying, is moving toward Uranus, right? So I was, in my praying today, I was getting this really strong, intense message that I'm supposed to share, which I thought maybe I was supposed to make a video about, but now I'm realizing, no, I think I'm just supposed to say it here with you, because it's so related to what you're saying, which is there's some very strong feeling that with that South Node in Scorpio, which we all have, for many more months, and it's getting highlighted by these eclipses we have now and then next fall, it's this letting go of what doesn't work. Like it felt, okay, how would I say it? The message felt like this is like a time to rejoice in letting go, right? Because when we have Uranus coming to conjunct the North Node of the moon, which will happen July 31st, so just after this symposium, about a month later, conjunct also Mars. Like we will come together on that day. One thing that, again, Ari talks about with Uranus is Uranus being the intelligence of the divine, right? So if Uranus is an energetic of the intelligence of the divine, which is really actually our highest intelligence, it's like we have this amazing moment where the North Node of the moon is going to align with the intelligence of the divine, while the South Node is in Scorpio, helping us let go of anything that's not in alignment with the intelligence of the divine, right? Because often I think of Scorpio, South Node in Scorpio feels a little bit potentially scary. Uranus on the North Node, especially with Mars coming along, feels potentially kind of scary, like volatile, maybe. But the feeling I had in my praying this morning was, no, this is so exciting and great. Like, just let it go. Let go what the stuff of the past, the stuff in your body, like any gunk that's kind of doesn't need to be there anymore. Release it. Just rejoice in the releasing, and let your higher self, yourself, not even your higher self, all of you come into alignment, click with that intelligence of the divine, because it knows, and when you let go, it can then reorganize things in ways that you can't possibly think of, so it feels really key to this whole time.
Totally. And Martha, I love what you're saying, because, and I love Ari's teaching and Jeffrey Wolf Green's teachings around Uranus, because we often say Uranus comes with shock, but Uranus is actually what is.
Yeah.
It's what is. And the shock comes when Saturn falls away. So the shock is what we see when we let go of all conditionings. That is a shock. When we let go of all repressions that we put around our soul and our body, that can shock us, because then we see what is. And I think that there's this potential with Uranus on the North Node and with Mars to really see what is, and that can be very, very intense. And I feel it at the moment with the eclipses, and at the moment when we are having this talk, Pluto just stationed retrograde. And I feel like deep grief and themes that are from my childhood and from past lives are coming to the surface. And I thought I have already worked through them. But now I see that I just have worked through them on a mental level, but not on an emotional, body and physical level. So I have deep grief and deep sadness that comes up, and fears that are coming up, where I can step aside and see myself as a little child. And as maybe not only me as a little child, but little childs in the past, from my own lineage and from past lives. And I had a meditation where I saw all these children, and I protected them. I brought them into my garden, and they are fine now. But it was really intense. And I have this feeling that with the Scorpio South Node, there is this potential for really see what is there, what is repressed, desires, needs, what we never allowed ourselves to feel, to want, to be, because we have been told that this is shameful or guilty or sinful, and all that comes up. And I think that the underworld journey is part of the journey. So we have to go down, and that is okay to go down, and we don't have to be afraid of that. It is okay, and we can have help. There are professional healers that can guide us when we feel at the moment overwhelmed. But I think when we allow ourselves to go deep and to feel this, and to when we work with our body too, through these fears and trauma and sadness and grief, then, as you say, we can realign with what is Uranus really there, the isness of our soul and the isness of our nature. And we are free to look with the curious mind and a curious heart, what our soul actually wants to experience, share, and give and experience in this world. And so I think that there are, and our desire nature and our repressed needs, there are maybe issues around who do I really want to be and how do I really want to, in which relationship do I want to be with my body and with Earth too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then do you want to switch gears and talk a bit about the goddesses and how it plays into all of this in your
yeah, I would love to. I mean, I did not think that we go so far.
Yeah.
But I love how we are going.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah, I must say that I really love the asteroid goddesses, and I started to learn more about them at the first time with Dimitra George's book, and because I have definitely, my soul has difficulties to be in a female body, and so for me the asteroid goddesses have been a gateway to connect with female goddesses, or with a certain kind of femininity that not felt threatening for me personally. Mm-hmm. And then I discovered Venus for myself. So we have already talked about Venus, but I have two asteroid goddesses that I really love, and that are, from my point of view, can be role models or allies to live a more balanced way and a kind of a genderlessness. And that are Pallas Athena and Diana. So Pallas Athena is very well known. I think both are virgin asteroid goddesses, and Diana is a little project, because there are not yet astrological books about Diana. So there are many books about the archetype Diana, but not about the astrological Diana as an asteroid goddess. And so encouraged by Sabrina Monarch, again, I did research around Diana last year, 2021. I had my Diana return. I did not know when I started the research, so I found out. And Diana is a skipped step for me, so she's squaring my lunar nodes, so she is important for me.
She's precisely on my midheaven.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think and I did research, and I have actually written a book about the astrological Diana. I did Diana through the signs, through the houses, through the elements, and so on, but it's not yet released, so I'm in the editing process, and I hope that it will be released maybe at the end of the year. So I'm super into Diana, and for me, and I wanted to talk a little bit about her, because for me she is the goddess, or the role model to live in harmony and in balance with nature. And she's totally free from any judgment. So Diana did not live on Mount Olympus. So she said goodbye to the gods, and she went into her wild forests, and she lived there with her friends, and her friends were male, female, gods, humans, animals. So she was so connected to nature, and for me she is this goddess that and she looked, when we see it from a traditional point of view, very masculine. So she is described as beautiful, but very tall and muscular, and very she had just a short tunica, So she's very androgyny is the right word, I think.
Androgynous, yeah.
Yeah, androgynous. And I think that in the Hellenic myth, she is described as goddess of the hunt. But in the pre-Hellenic myth, she is much more described as the goddess of the young moon, and as a fertility goddess too. So there are pictures and myths about her where she actually danced and played with the animals. So she did not hunt them, she played with them. And she did moon rituals and moon dances around the moon tree at night with all different beings. Everything in nature was alive, and she did these ritual dances. And so she's so connected with nature and what is natural, and she doesn't care what gender or origin or every soul is. Her love knows no gender roles or gender concepts. And she is in the Hellenic myth as goddess of the hunt. She even it is described that she never hunted pregnant or female animals because she wanted to preserve the species. So that even in the Hellenic myth, which was written down by men, she is very connected to nature. And for me, she incorporates a very strong and untamed soul. And so she lives according to her own rules, and she doesn't care what the other gods are saying. And I think she's the only goddess that was never abused or betrayed or hurt by male gods. So she was the protectress for women in need and animals in need too. So yeah, she's this wild, untamed spirit. And I think that, I will definitely share in the future more about her, because I think that she's such an important archetype at the moment for our world, for Mother Planet Earth, for everybody and every soul. And she connects this nighttime consciousness. So it is said that she also she hunted by night. So, and she totally trusted her senses and her intuition and her gnosis, this deep wisdom, to follow her prey and to reach her goals. So she's this connection between nighttime consciousness and daytime consciousness too.
Wow.
And yeah, I really love her spirit. That is really healing, I think.
That's fascinating. Sorry. Yeah.
No, say.
I was just going to say, it's fascinating to me that she's on my midheaven, and for many years, what I did was I was a therapist, and then I was a therapist primarily with foster children in the foster care system, and then I was a foster care social worker and a supervisor at Child Protective Services, and I was an adoptions social worker with children in that. So I did a lot of investigating of child abuse and protecting children. Anyway, that's just, and teaching parents and foster parents and adoptive parents how to care for children in a safe, nurturing way. Yeah, wow. I did that for like a bazillion years. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Yeah.
Super interesting. I found out, and I did research, but my research continues. such a wonderful person like Dimitra George did years on research about the goddesses and then has written her book. So my book is, I was told to write that. And when I read the book now, I don't know how I could read that, how I could written that. So it's a little bit strange, but yeah.
No, I know that feeling, yes.
Yeah. But what I feel with Diana is wherever she is in the chart, it is about a process of coming back to your untamed wilderness in this area of the chart and in this, so yeah, reclaiming what is natural for you.
Whatever that is, like on any spectrum of gender, any spectrum of identity, any yeah, right, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And what is so interesting with the other archetype that I think is important, Pallas Athena, she is a virgin goddess too, but she is part of the gods on Mount Olympus. So she is this goddess. She interacts with the given structure, with Saturn, with Saturnian structures, with Jupiter's law in this context. Yeah. And she is, for me, an archetype. She knows the rules so that she can break them. So she's very wise and strategic, and she connects her intuition and her, she can recognize these patterns, and she sees structures, and she's very creative, and she finds her way in the system. And I think that is so beautiful too, because she makes the change within. So Diana leaves the club and says, okay, I'm living according to my own rules. But I think Pallas Athena, there is something about, I'm in this system, but I can use my intelligence and my wisdom and my intuition to change something from inside. And I think that can be a helpful energy or a helpful archetype to also connect with with masculine energies, so to be outside in the world, and with feminine qualities, to feel what and to see with your third eye what is true and what is right for me, and there to find this balance can be very supportive, I think, too. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. I really would like to read your Diana book for sure. I cannot wait for that to come out. I think at some point you were mentioning maybe possibly sharing a part of it with people in the symposium or something, or if that's not true, just say no.
No, that's totally fine. One thing is that it is planned that I will give a talk about Diana on EA Zoom meeting.
Ooh.
Yes. Nice. This summer.
Nice.
And my plan is that I will do the editing process this year, so that it maybe comes out in winter. But I thought about maybe sharing an excerpt, maybe a chapter or something like that of the unreleased book with the audience. That would be like a free gift.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you decide what you're comfortable with, and then we'll put it with this video, whatever you decide.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Also so beautiful. So great. Is there any other last thought you feel called to share? Did we miss anything?
I think, what is really important for me to share, or what wants to be shared, is really this it is so important that we have a loving acceptance against others and our own body, and that we really see and respect and love the soul, independent from gender, origin. And I think that is really important that we allow ourselves to become aware of past lives and past life wounding, so that we really can heal maybe wounds around gender and sexuality and gender identity and certain roles that we had to play, so that we really can embrace our physical experience in this life, free from shame and guilt. And I think that we can really trust our desires, what we want to experience, and that we sometimes maybe can detach in a healthy way from our human experience and see this from a soul's perspective, and from the perspective that from a little bit of playful perspective, so that our soul is here to learn and to grow and to evolve, and that everything is about gaining more wisdom and find more compassion and love for our own soul and for every soul on this planet and in other realms too. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what would you like to share with people about what you offer and how they can connect with you? Again, all your information will be with the video, but what would you like to say out loud?
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity. For listeners or for audience who speaks German, I have an astrology program where I teach astrology from an evolutionary point of view in German. You can find information on my website. It's called Living Astrology Intense. And I have workshops about the asteroid goddesses in German and about the Venus cycle. And for everybody who speaks English, I offer my evolutionary astrology readings, as you said at the beginning, in German and in English language. So maybe the best way to learn more about me or to find me is maybe actually via Instagram, because my website is a little bit old. I have to restructure it and to translate it into English, so it's in German. But maybe you can send me an email, or you can reach out via Instagram private message to learn more about my offerings. Via email is maybe the best way, because many of my things outside in the world are still in German. So yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, I just so appreciate your presence. Is just so, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like pure light coming straight through you and into our world. And I just really appreciate that you're here on the symposium, but here, like I said to you before we were recording, I'm just really grateful you're here on the planet. And
thank you so much, Martha. And I feel so honored to be part of this symposium, and I'm so excited how this will unfold. And I'm deeply grateful that you give me the opportunity that I can share what wants to be shared. And thank you.
Thank you.